Life after death experience. A mother sees heaven and scrawls it on a piece of paper. She says it's real. This is after she was dead for 27 minutes and was brought back to life. Haunting message from the woman who had passed away for 27 minutes. According to her family, the story tells of a young woman who died for 27 minutes when she was revived, said, and had written down, "It's real." And what was real? She replied, "Heaven." And though we find it hard to believe, it's not the parts of the Bible we don't understand, but it's parts that we do understand. So, this is her witnessing. This is not the first time we've had people resuscitated that come back and say, yes, Jesus exists and heaven is real. And also the opposite has happened. Now, a mother of 4 wrote an astonishing note to her family while being technically dead for 27 minutes following a cardiac arrest. This is by Bob Virtue on Express UK, today's article. Tina Hines gestured she wanted to write something, and she scrawled something on a piece of paper saying, "It's real." This is what was written on the piece of paper after momentarily being revived. When her family asked her what was real, she looked upwards and nodded. She later claimed the note refers to heaven existing, and that she revealed what the astonishing scenes she saw while she was unconscious, which included a Jesus-like figure appearing to her. Now, it could have been an angel, it could have been Jesus himself. Tina told azfamily.com, "It was so real, the colors were so vibrant." The drama began when the active mom was on her way for a hike with her husband near the couple's home in Phoenix, Arizona. Tina collapsed and turned purple, according to her husband, Brian. He gave her CPR and brought her back twice before paramedics arrived. Tina was dead for a collective 27 minutes, the family had revealed, and in the hospital with a tube in her mouth and unable to speak. She was then given a pen and piece of paper when she wrote the unintelligible note. She later described seeing the figure she says was Jesus Christ. He was standing in front of some black gates and was surrounded by a bright yellow light. This is according to Tina. Most people who temporarily die from cardiac arrest have no memory of this type of a period, but between 10 to 20% say they have near-death experiences. A study on rats at the University of Michigan showed a burst of brain activity in them in the moments before death and complex thoughts as well. So this may be happening to people. Let's remember, people only use about 10% of their brains. Maybe something happens at that time where they can use a lot more, and of course have the hyper psychological experiences and contact with the heavenly realms. Now, scientists claim brain activity may allow people to have memories of the period before death, but Tina is convinced what she saw means God and heaven exists, and her family are equally convinced. Her niece, Maddie Johnson, even has a note from Tina tattooed on her wrist. The mother from Arizona is not alone. There are numerous others that have had similar visions and beliefs from their experiences. Just weeks ago, a motorcyclist called John said he was teleported to a desert after suffering a life-threatening injury. He said, "The ground was sandy but solid, and I could smell the desert air." He added vivid descriptions of what he said back then snapped back to reality. He found himself in the hospital. Now, another man writing to the concerning the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation, he said he was in blackness with hundreds of sparkly lights. That's goes back thousands of years. This is a description of Jesus being the light. Yes, he is the light, and souls do go towards him. There are others, of course, because there are essential states that do not go towards the light. He then saw, he says, Jesus standing on the other side of a bridge and revealed. Jesus asked him, "Gary, would you like to stay for eternal peace and happiness or go back?" Gary asked to return and then woke up back in his body. And he wrote, if an experience like this does not change you, then there's something wrong with you. And he's right, of course. Now, Dr. Sam Parnia, Director of Critical Care and Resuscitation Research at NYU Langone School of Medicine in New York, recently said in a debate how people describe a sensation of bright, warm, and welcoming light. Others report watching doctors and nurses working on them. But Dr. Parnia insists there is a scientific explanation in that the brain scans itself as a survival technique. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.